Hey everybody, welcome back to Better Sleeping Tonight with Shane and Greg. Greg, I think we have tried to record this episode more than we have tried to record any other episode before. I think this is attempt number 4 now. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good, Shane. How about you?
I'm feeling good, just a little bit maybe irritated that we've had a couple technical difficulties, if you will. But I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to go. So before we get to the main content, guys, we want to talk about a couple things real quick. First thing we want to talk about is Facebook. Facebook lately, I just want to say huge thank you to everybody out there that has been giving us a thumbs up. We really appreciate you guys liking our page, people listening to the podcast. We are now available on more platforms than we've been in the past. We're on Google Play Podcast finally. We're also on Buzzsprout and also on TuneIn Radio. So we are getting distribution. We're getting out there. Greg, what do you have to say about 4th of July?
Hey, man, I just wanted to remind everybody to thank your vets, your policemen, your firemen, anybody that serves. I'm an ex-vet. Shane's dad's a vet, and we want to send a thank you out to all of you that have served us in this country for any reason whatsoever. How you feel about that, Shane?
Absolutely, same way. I really appreciate everyone who's been in service, whether it be the military or in the public sector. You know, I really do appreciate you guys keeping us safe and free. That's what makes our country so great. So thank you to everybody. Talking about free, this podcast is free, and part of that is that, you know, we distribute it on our Facebook page for you guys. We want to give you guys a little bit of information here. We just got in some awesome new bed frames. We're going to talk about bed frames here today. Furniture style, you know, fabric, so not exposed wood. They look great. What do you think, Greg?
I don't know. They look real elegant to me, Shane. And, you know, the beauty of these is we have price points starting at $3.99 and up. And I thought that was just for the headboard, but lo and behold, I find out that's a headboard, a footboard, and the rails. These things are beautiful. What do you think about them?
I think they look great, and you know what? I'm really excited that we've got them here, and I'm very thankful because we've had a lot of customers come in that have seen them, and you know they like them as well. So
that being said, we truly are a one-stop shop for your whole bedroom needs, right?
Absolutely, we have everything. What do we have, Greg?
We have bed frames, we have furniture bed frames, we have sheets, protectors, pillows, mattresses, foundations, power bases, or adjustable bases, as some people call them. Like I said, we're not only a mattress store, we're a destination.
And don't forget about our Sherpa blankets. We got, 2 left, right, Greg?
That's right, and they're a great buy, and animals love them.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, welcome back. So, Greg, the first topic we want to talk about is bed frames. Let's start with the basic type, metal bed frames. How many different types do we carry, and what do you recommend?
Well, Shane, you know, it's funny you brought that up. We actually carry 4 different varieties. We carry the standard metal bed frame. The ones we carry are very high quality, so you kind of have a good, better, best situation going on here. So we have the original good that is no wheels, very strong steel, very supportive. We also have 2 other models that do have casters. One has locking casters. Again, all of these are made out of what they call a railroad steel. And we also carry what's called an embrace, which is a very beautiful looking bed frame. You're a little more familiar with embrace, Shane. What's so nice about an embrace frame?
Well, there's 2 things that I would point out to most people on them. First of all is the total weight capacity. Now, you know, keep in mind most people are never going to have to need it for this part of it, but it can hold up to 2,000 pounds, Greg. 2,000 pounds.
Wow, they're not only nice looking, but they're strong, huh? So, Shane, let me ask you a question. Does every mattress and foundation need a frame?
Well, you know, Greg, it does make sense to have something to put your mattress and foundation on. And we'll get into some of the more technical answers here in a little bit as well. Technically speaking, you can put your mattress and foundation on the floor. But realistically, you know, if you have heat vents, anything in the bedroom like that, or if you want to be able to put stuff underneath your mattress, a lot of people do that for storage. You definitely want to put it on a frame. And it also makes it easier to move it if you're vacuuming, if you want to be able to move your mattress around. If you have it on a caster wheel set, that way you can get those dust bunnies that have been under there for a while.
All right, that's cool. So, Shane, bringing up frames, traditionally, it was a $29, metal frame you bought at ACO or something. So the frames we carry, better frame?
Yeah, and again, like you said, we have 3 categories that we carry for metal bed frames: good, better, best. And as you go up in quality, obviously you go up in price. But what does that extra money and quality get you? Get you thicker steel, a better assembly. Usually, some of the higher price ones will be full to queen size. So if you have a child that you're buying that frame for, if they're currently going into a full size, but maybe down the road into a queen, you won't have to buy your frame twice. Another point that you brought up, and again, good, better, best, locking wheels. So our line that we call best has the locking wheel on it as well. So if you don't want your mattress moving around as you get in bed at night, we definitely recommend that option as well.
Well, Shannon, you brought up now that we're now carrying here at RV and Pure Sleep a nice new line of furniture frames. So what is a furniture frame exactly?
Yeah, so that's a good point. Now, we've had people for a long time that have stopped in here, bought their mattress, and said they need a bed frame. And I usually have to ask them to clarify, do you mean something that has a ornate design to it, or do you need just a metal bed frame? And sometimes they mean just a metal bed frame like the ones we just talked about, and sometimes they mean, that headboard, footboard look to it. And yeah, so that's what we carry now. We have 7 options total. And, different styles. Some more Art Deco, some of them more European style. All fabric, so we can deliver it the next day with a mattress set. Not that we're telling you guys to come and buy a mattress from us, but hey, if you happen to need both, like Greg said, we are a one-stop shop now.
Well, Shane, it's nice that you brought that up. I have a question for you, though. With these furniture frames, as you call them, do you still need a metal frame or maybe like the embrace frame inside of that headboard, footboard?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Greg, especially in my opinion, but I've seen it with customers as well. If it's a lower quality or cheaper price point, generally speaking, what I recommend to my customers is that instead of using the slats that come with the bed frame, to remove those slats, and then usually there's a little lip that those sit on. Some bed frames have those assembled on them. Others require you to take them out. But you can generally, even without taking them out, set a metal bed frame in there. And what that does is it preserves the quality, makes the bed frame last longer because you're not putting stress and weight onto that bed frame. So that's a great question, Craig.
Great. So Shane, getting away from now frames being the metal or the embrace, getting away from the furniture frames, what are some of the other things you put your mattress on?
Well, that's a great question. And before we totally escape that, let's talk about platform. So there's 2 different types of furniture bed frame, or that's how I describe them. There's your standard bed frame, and then there's platform. Platform bed frames generally have a slat roll, and those slats are usually no more than 3/4 of an inch apart. And platform bed frames are either with drawers for extra storage or without drawers for extra storage. And that's going to be really important when we get into some of these other categories here in a minute. But what a platform bed frame is great for is that you just put your mattress on that and you're all set. No need for a box spring or foundation.
Oh, well, Shane, that's a question that comes up quite often. So with a platform bed, you're telling me you don't need the foundation or box spring, correct?
Correct, Greg. In some cases, what I might recommend to a customer, just if they're not really sure, if they're just not really convinced that their mattress will be fine on that, I might recommend to them with their platform bed frame to go with a couple bunkie boards. Just, if it's a king size, if it's a queen size, you just need one. just to, be safe, because that's really, at the end of the day, one of the concerns customers bring up to us.
So you brought up the word bunkie board. To those of you who are not familiar with a bunkie board, Shane, what is that?
A bunkie board is usually it's a 2-inch profile. Some manufacturers make them differently. One of the manufacturers that we carry, manufacturer with Amish wood, twice dried, or what they call kiln drying process. We live here in the state of Michigan, and this is kind of one of the things that's unique to us, is that our environment here changes a lot. We have damp, we have dry, we have hot, we have cold, and all that would cause wood to normally warp, but with that manufacturing process, it tends to hold up better. Now, there's another bunkie board that's usually a cheaper quality that uses a medium density fiberboard, and it's usually put on more medium density fiberboard, or plywood sometimes as well. And those are usually a cheaper option. If you really want a good quality option, then you're going to go with something like the first one I was talking about.
So Shane, basically a bunkie board then is a foundation. And what would be the need for a bunkie board? Is it the height? Is it the strength?
Well, it's both in the case of if you're going to use it on a platform bed frame, Greg. Now, if you don't have a platform bed frame, then generally speaking, you're not going to use a bunkie board unless you want something very, very low. Greg, how high do people generally want their mattress sets to be with frame included?
Well, Shane, one of the things that comes up, and I'd like to give you a simple answer there, but mattresses now have reached 15, 16, 17 inches. So, the standard foundation is 9 and your mattress is 15. We're looking at about 24 inches. Most people are comfortable with that. But Shane, is there another option out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, mattress sets today are mattress and foundation. What type of foundation you go with, obviously, is going to be based upon your specific wants, needs, and desires. There's a low profile foundation, which is 5 inches. There's a regular height, which is 9 inches. But there's also an adjustable foundation, Greg. And, that is something that a lot of people today are going for. It is the hottest thing of the 21st century.
I agree with you, and I'll tell you something. We get people every day with questions. So the first thing we're going to talk about here with what Shane just called as an adjustable foundation, or a power base, some people call them, is the first question we normally get is, do I still need a foundation with my power base or adjustable foundation? And Shane, what's the answer to that question?
No. And you know why? Because if you listen to the name that we give you, which is adjustable foundation, it's right there in the name.
So basically, Shane, what we're trying to tell people is, listen, when you buy an adjustable base, you eliminate the need for a foundation because the base or the adjustable foundation is your foundation. So what's really nice about that is now your set becomes a whole different thing. It's a medical benefit. It's a relaxation benefit. What are some of the other features about an adjustable foundation that you find to be nice, Shane?
Well, as you just mentioned, from a medical perspective, there's definitely valid uses from it. And from an entertainment or lifestyle perspective as well. My favorite thing about adjustable foundation is actually not my favorite thing, but my fiance's favorite thing, is that it helps reduce snoring. Did you know that just by raising your head and chest 13 degrees is enough to reduce the pressure that gravity puts on your body to reduce your snoring? It opens up your airways.
Well, you know what, Shane, as you mentioned eliminating snoring with an adjustable foundation, that brings to mind to me some of the people out there that suffer with acid reflux. By raising your head up like that, will that help?
Absolutely. Not only does it help with acid reflux, but also sleep apnea as well.
Great. So there's a medical benefit that we talk about here, but there's also, like I brought up and Shane brought up, is a lifestyle benefit. When you have that bad day at work and the world's just closing in around you, a little angry, a little road rage, 10 minutes in an adjustable foundation to yourself really can change how you're feeling by relieving some of that stress. I know that there's days that my wife uses ours just to eliminate stress, not for a medical reason, although stress is a medical reason.
Yeah, no, stress is actually a very important aspect of our health. It affects our heart. and obviously it affects our mental capacity as well. But yeah, I mean, you're very right. And from another medical perspective of using a adjustable foundation, one thing that a lot of people face is a high resting heart rate. And there's one easy way to fix that, and that's with an adjustable foundation that features leg up as well. Because if you lay flat on your back and you raise your legs up above your heart, you can reduce your heart rate by about 7 beats per minute. And the way that works, Greg, is because it allows gravity to do the work for you. So gravity will pull that blood back down to your heart and allow it to cycle with a little bit less stress on your heart.
So that's a great point, because I want to stress here that we don't just sell mattresses. What we're here to do is to educate people, to give them a healthier lifestyle. So what you're telling me is that by raising your feet up, working on your heart a little bit, we're going to have a longer life, correct?
Well, I can't guarantee anything, but it definitely will help you a lot more than you might think. And part of the way it works is it pivots your pelvic bone, so that way it actually reduces pressure on your lower lumbar as well. So, sometimes you lay down on a mattress and you lay on your back and you cross your legs. You know why people cross their legs, Greg?
They think it's comfortable?
They think it's comfortable. And you know why? Because it reduces pressure on the lower lumbar. You can achieve the same thing by raising those legs up a little bit. It's pretty interesting because I didn't know that until someone showed me. So it's definitely one of those things you don't necessarily think about. Now, Greg, we have people all the time that refer to foundations as box springs, and they come in asking about if they need a box spring with their mattress, their new mattress set. What's your thoughts on that question?
Well, Shane, it's funny because obviously I've got a few years on Shane, and when I was young, everything was a box spring, and now we call them foundations, so it kind of trips people up a little bit. But basically the idea of a box spring or a foundation, because there are manufacturers that still use springs in their foundation, correct?
Yeah, a certain form of it. Like Simmons Beauty Rest uses, their foundations are made with what they call Triton Flex foundation. So it has a little bit of flex to it. It's still a grid metal system on the top there, but it's different than box springs of the past still. Okay,
so basically what we're getting at here, folks, the traditional foundation, Shane, a lot that we sell here made by King Coil, used in Detroit Mattress Company, and Natura, is a solid wood, no springs or coils, right?
Yeah, it's what they call a wood build-up construction. So it's all wood, like you say. It doesn't have any metal or steel in it aside from the staples that they use to joint everything together.
Now, in those particular ones I was just mentioning, you had brought up earlier double kiln-baked wood. Why is that important again? Just the moisture and the heat and the dryness? Or is there actually a strength to that?
Yeah, no, it adds strength to it because here's the thing. By doing that double kiln drying process, it's sucking away all the moisture out of the wood, and then they're going to prove the strength to it after that. Now, they call it seasoning the wood. And what that means is, like I said earlier, it allows it to go through all the seasons without warping, which adds strength to it as well, prevents cracking, breaking, anything like that.
Great. So does each company make their own foundations, or are they pretty much universal?
No, that's another great point. No, all manufacturers that we carry do use something specific for their mattresses. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use a foundation that works with one bed with another one, but it would be important to make sure that they're compatible still.
Now, let me ask you a question because this gets asked to me a lot. On a foam mattress, is there a different foundation you should use?
Yeah, on foam mattresses, I recommend a wood buildup with that, solid top on it. Unless it's like a Tempur-Pedic or iComfort. All day, you're going to want to use that manufacturer's foundations just because they tend to be a lot stronger. But again, if you're not using an adjustable base, then, you want to use a manufacturer's foundation for sure.
Great. So then, to go back a little bit to the adjustable foundations, obviously no springs in those. So do we carry more than one adjustable base?
Yeah. No, we have a total of 9. One of them actually doesn't adjust. It's kind of part of that category, And what it is it's a massage foundation. So basically, if you like the feel of a massage, but you don't want the head feet up, you know what? We've got this other option here. It's totally great for that, and allows you to relieve some of your stress. It also helps enhance blood flow, which is also another awesome thing about it. It doesn't cost much more than a regular flat foundation does, but it adds a lot of benefit over the 10-year period that you're probably going to keep it for.
And I'll tell you, one of the good things about these adjustable foundations, Shane, is that, you know, they start out at, like you just said, a massage foundation, and then you go up to what they call just a head up only. Affordable, definitely a stress reliever, but is there a medical reason for head up only too, Shane?
Yeah, so again, head up only would be a great option for people that, you know, snore, people with sleep apnea, people with acid reflux. You know, from a medical standpoint, those are the reasons that you would want it. Again, by lifting your head up, it eases the pressure of gravity from your chest cavity. So it on its own will help make breathing easier.
Well, and I know as we talk, you know, there's a head up, and the next step would be a head up, foot up. And I know with my wife, who suffers some hip pain, that head up, foot up, or what we call a zero gravity, really seems to help her. And I see it from looking, but from a medical standpoint, we're taking pressure off that hip area. So you feel kind of like you're floating. Have you ever had that experience in an adjustable foundation?
Yeah, absolutely. My right hip, I have a lot of pain in there. Not so much now with my new mattress, but previously from sleeping on a mattress that was really bad for me. I had a lot of hip pain, and by sitting in an adjustable foundation, again, it rotates your hips, so it helped me out a lot.
Well, Shane, you know, I brought up the hip thing. So we have a head up, we have a head and foot up. Are there other options available in adjustable foundations?
Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of goes back to the first type that we talked about, which is the massage base. So you go massage base with no adjustments. You go head only with no massage. You go head and foot with no massage. And then you go head, foot with massage. And from there, there's head tilt. Some of the other ones feature lumbar adjustments as well. And again, we talked about height options on mattresses earlier. Greg, what about the height options on adjustable bases?
Great point, because that's one of the first questions people ask us about an adjustable base or an adjustable foundation, as we call them. The nice thing is a lot of these bases now come with what they call a three-way leg or a 3-in-1 leg. So you can change your height. We can take half the leg out. We can put half the leg in. We can take a third of the leg out. So it's really nice because it gives you a lot of different options on height. And because these bases come with very good warranties, you know, you might want to switch that leg 10 years down the road.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're absolutely correct on that, Greg. Generally speaking, most people are fine with the 7-inch height, but you know, the 3-in-1 leg allows you to do 7-inch, 5-inch, or 2-inch for that leg. So that helps a lot of people get into the power base to solve their medical needs without having to compromise on the height or the quality of the mattress. Now, speaking of the mattress, now some power bases, well, not the power base really, but some mattresses are not compatible with power bases. What it comes down to is, one, a lift capacity of the base. So like a Tempur-Pedic Graham bed from a few years ago, they had a specific power base for that. And some of the other, you know, motors, even as strong as they are, a lot of the motors that we have in our bases are either capable of lifting 650 pounds or 850 pounds, but yet with that Tempur-Pedic, because it was such a dense material, it couldn't flex. So, you know, there's that. There are there's one or two Stearns and Fosters that we currently carry that are not power base friendly. Not that they're not compatible, but wouldn't really recommend it. But then if it's made with an LFK coil system or a continuous coil system, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, those wouldn't work with a power base because once you bend them, they're never going back to their original shape.
So one of the nice things here is we are here to educate you. So remember, if you feel like you want a power base, but you're not absolutely sure if your mattress is compatible, that's something that we can handle here, correct?
Yeah, we can definitely try. Now, if you don't know how that mattress was manufactured, we might reach out to the manufacturer or to a retailer and ask them for more specific information about that model. But generally speaking, if it's not individually wrapped or an all foam, then it may not work. Now, a few years ago, Serta had a model that still had the bar on the side, but it didn't go where the middle third was, where the mattress itself pivots generally. But for the most part, if you feel that metal border rod, it's usually going to be a no on the power base side of things.
Well, and another question I get asked quite a bit about adjustable foundations is, does it void my warranty on my mattress? And I want everyone to understand something, that mattress manufacturers are now educated, as well as we are getting educated, on the wants, the needs of their consumers. And so these mattresses are built to work with power bases, unless, like Shane brought up, a continuous coil system. So it does not void your warranty. They expect you to use the power base on it, so you're fine. The other question I get asked a lot, Shane, and I think this is one that you might be better prepared to answer, with these upholstered headboards, footboards, and rails, can you put a power base in them?
Yeah, absolutely. They drop right inside the frame. And people ask us a lot because they think maybe that it's going to be bigger or it's not going to fit. They're no bigger than your standard box spring is, Greg. So that's a great question, but we do get it a lot, and we want to answer that question for you guys once and for all here on the show.
That's right, Shane. And you know what? So I think Shane did kind of answer that. Is there any kind of upholstered furniture? We did bring up platform beds. So on a platform, would you still be able to use an adjustable base?
As long as it doesn't have a drawer package, Greg. If it doesn't have a drawer package, you should be good to go. The one thing that I tell people to look at is if they have some kind of overhang on their headboard, if it's like a storage headboard. If you have some kind of funky storage that overhangs, then you might have an issue. But these are all designed to be wall hugger designs, kind of like lazy boy recliners, where instead of it going backwards and out, it actually stays in the same alignment and just rotates upwards.
So I tell you, when I'm looking over here at all these upholstered bedroom sets that we now carry, I'll tell you, boy, when you put that power base in there, what a classy looking sleep system you have. Don't you agree?
I absolutely do. And I think they look great. So, all right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up for this week. We want to thank you guys for sticking around, checking out this week's episode, and again, for finding us in the first place. Greg, do you have any final thoughts on what we talked about today?
I just want you to know that if you folks have any questions, Shane and I are here to help you. You can call us, you can come in, you can reach us on Facebook, ask questions. We respond very quickly. And I thank you, Shane, for that, because you're our IT guy. And I want people to know that, like I said, we are here to help. You have a question? Remember, it's never a dumb question. If you have it, we want to help with it. So come on in and see us. Shane, any final thoughts for you?
You know what? I just want to let you guys know I'm going to be on vacation next week. Greg, I think you got vacation the week following that. So we're going to be on hiatus for a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, we're still going to be reachable, like Greg said, here through Facebook by stopping in here on our store. Other than that, I think we pretty much wrapped it all up.
I'll tell you, Shane, you know what? I'll tell you, this is such a great subject. I think we should probably revisit it again in the future. Because as those questions come in, we'll be able to get some better answers as we get more educated and as the public gets more educated. So I want to thank you, Shane, for helping us today.
Absolutely, Greg. And what's our motto around here?
Our motto is, this is the coolest podcast to keep you from sleeping hot, right?
It sure is, unless you think it's the hottest podcast to keep you sleeping cool. Then you're still right.
You know what? I think we should do a poll, Shane. Is it the hottest podcast to keep you sleeping cool, or is it the coolest podcast to keep you from sleeping hot? Why don't you guys weigh in and give us your answer?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. We think it's a great little catch line or tagline, whatever you want to call it. It was just something we thought up, because it's really what our mission is here. I mean, we're not pitching our products specifically. I mean, we will talk about them when it comes up. But hey, I mean, we think we're just about the only podcast out there really talking about this stuff. And you know what? You guys come in with all the questions, and that's why we decided to do this in the first place. So this is for you guys.
Well, and remember, Shane, they don't call you the Reverend of Sleep for nothing.
Well, I preach it. I live it. I do it. So until next week, everybody, we want to thank you for stopping by. But until then, have a great night's sleep.